The date is approaching, the numbers are being finalized, and across Saskatchewan, municipalities are waiting to see what the provincial budget will deliver. Budgets are more than balance sheets at the end of the day. They are statements of priorities. They determine whether communities can invest in infrastructure, maintain essential services, and plan for the future. And this year, those decisions come at a time when many local governments are facing rising costs, growing demands, and increasing economic uncertainty. Now, the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association, or SUMA, has already made its case. Their message is clear. A strong and vibrant Saskatchewan depends on a strong and resilient municipal landscape in every region of the province. Now, their list of priorities reflects the realities on the ground, from infrastructure pressures to fiscal sustainability and the need for reliable provincial partnerships. Recently, SUMA President Randy Golden joined us to talk about what urban municipalities are hoping to see in this year's provincial budget, where mayors and councillors are feeling the greatest financial strain, and what the outcome could mean not only if the province delivers on those requests, but also if it doesn't. This is Municipal Affairs.
You stepped up to serve your community. Now take your leadership to the next level. Introducing GEMS, Governance Essentials for the Municipal Sector, a practical, Saskatchewan-based training program designed for council members and those who support them. Whether newly elected or a seasoned leader, GEMS helps sharpen the skills that matter most: decision-making, accountability, financial stewardship, infrastructure oversight, and navigating the complex realities of municipal governance. This isn't your typical classroom. GEMS is flexible, online, and built for busy people. You don't need a university degree, just a commitment to good governance. For some, it's been years since taking a course. That's okay. GEMS is designed to build confidence and knowledge. There is a short assessment, but it's there to reinforce your learning, not to trip you up. If cost is a concern, talk to your administrator, as there may be grants available to offset some of the costs. Because when local leaders grow, entire communities benefit. GEMS, because good governance isn't just important, it's essential.
From the smallest villages to the largest cities, every day your urban municipality supports you. The water that travels from tap to sewer, the emergency services that keep you safe, the parks, libraries, and rinks that you enjoy. Our cities, towns, villages, resort villages, and northern municipalities are urban hubs bringing people together. We are urban. Celebrate your municipality as part of the urban family.
President, thank you so much for sitting down with me and talking about the financial realities that municipalities are under and how that corresponds with an upcoming event in the province of Saskatchewan, the provincial budget, which we are not sure when the date is going to be, but we know it is probably coming sooner rather than later. So as we approach the provincial budget, Randy, what was SUMA's asks from for the provincial government to help municipalities across the province?
Well, hello, Chris, and it's always great to sit down and have these conversations with you. And right across Canada, our provinces and our territories are looking to advance the needs for municipal governments. And here in Saskatchewan, we are absolutely the same. And when we have been talking with our members, our caucuses, our board members in the past months, what we've heard, and it's consistent. It really is consistent, and you've heard me say this many times before. You know, what are some of the top ones? Well, it's infrastructure. And what's bubbling for us right now in Saskatchewan is around economic development. And then the whole issue around transportation. We are hearing from our members about the environment and working to keep our municipalities resistant and resilient, the R's. And we're hearing from our members a great deal of conversations around our libraries, our library systems. And then, you know, constantly one of the top threes, healthcare, addictions, mental health care. And then to round everything out, we have the whole concerns around housing and housing our residents in our communities and in our municipalities.
Now, over the last, I would say, 3 years since doing this show, starting with you back in 2023, I've gotten to know a lot of municipal mayors and councillors from across Saskatchewan. And the common theme I hear from them every single time when we approach a budget or after a budget is a strong municipal landscape, a strong urban municipal air sort of region means a strong, vibrant Saskatchewan province. Would you agree with that sentiment? And on the flip side, is there things that you need to see in this budget to continue that growth that the urban municipalities in Saskatchewan have been delivering over the last few years around growth and opportunity that Saskatchewan is known for?
Well, Chris, you've heard our premier over and over again say we're about food, fuel, and fertilizer. And where does that come from? That comes from the province. And we are very, throughout the province, throughout our municipalities, and our urban municipalities are key leaders, key economic hubs in our province. And although we are very appreciative and we acknowledge the municipal revenue sharing that we have in our province, which is only seen in another province in Quebec, we're the envy, but we're finding it's not keeping up to what we're seeing. The inflation, the rising costs, the concerns around getting products to our municipalities so we can keep fueling that growth that happens. So those are the things we're saying to our province. We need that. We need to have a sustainable infrastructure program. We need them to work with our federal partners because if anything, Chris, of what I'm hearing from our members is we're partners and we're willing to pay our share. But our share is getting larger and larger and larger. And some of the things that we're asking for revolve around that. And they may seem small things, but when you combine them with everything else that's going on in our municipalities, in our province, in our country, it's no longer small and it's no longer sustainable.
Last year at the federal budget, there was announcement around funding around infrastructure, and when SUMA went to Ottawa in 2025, I think, and I'm not speaking out of turn here, but from the conversations I had with mayors who were in that meeting, on the record, they said that infrastructure funding from the province may not be in this budget, which it wasn't. It may be in future budgets. You talk about infrastructure as being one of the top priorities for municipalities across Saskatchewan. What happens if we don't see any new funding for infrastructure in this provincial budget? Are municipal leaders going to have a very tough year?
Well, Chris, as we are hearing from our members across the province, whether it's a large community, our largest, the city of Saskatoon, we heard from them. We heard from the large city of Regina, the impact that this is having, or to our very smallest members, to our northern members. Things have to shift, things have to change, and some of those are not pleasant. So that's why when the Minister of Government Relations came to SUMA and asked us to be a partner along with our sister organization, SARM, we were very pleased to go to Ottawa with them in October and bring all of our support. And I think that's the important thing. We're bringing all our support, all our members to talk with our federal leaders. And we heard that this was very well received, that we came as Team Saskatchewan. We're not coming in as individual cities. Yes, we all have our own ask. We're not coming in as individual villages or resort villages or towns or northern municipalities because we all have specific needs. But when we're hearing about those topics that I brought forward, they may have just little nuances to them, but they're all going to be a huge concern. So whether our municipalities with our tax system, Chris, and you've heard me say this, I mean, this came about with Queen Victoria, for heaven's sakes. Things have to change. So with our tax model that we have, our property tax model, we can only, do look at our taxation. We can look at cutting services. We can look at, increasing fees and costs that we have to send to our residents. But overall, it's our residents that are going to have to continue paying. And what are we hearing? Affordability. So we want to be a partner, but partnerships means everyone joins in.
Infrastructure is probably the top concern for every municipal leader because things are getting more and more expensive. But the other issue that you talked about, and I want to play in that for just a brief second, if you don't mind, is economic development. Now, I know that this has been a challenging year, and I'm not speaking to anyone who would disagree with that statement that it has been a tough year on the global, but also provincially, but also locally. SUMA is doing some great work behind the scenes, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but I think it's an important partnership that it was just announced earlier this year. I think actually in 2025, if I'm not mistaken, you'll correct me here in about 2 seconds. But SUMA has partnered with CETA, the Saskatchewan Economic Development Association, which is going to basically help municipalities and look at economic development as a whole. Where do you see the province fitting in that partnership to ensure that economic development of all municipalities of all sizes in all regions are on the front of a center mind for every single person?
Well, something that SUMA always is mindful of and is one of our values is to work with partners, to work with the experts in the field. And we have them. We have them over at the CETA office. So, yes, we are partnering and we are absolutely thrilled about that, that we can work directly with CETA when our members have some needs. But what we're hearing from our members, many years ago, we had something that was very effective in our province. And this I'm hearing from the members. And first of all, we had REDAs, Regional Economic Development Agencies, that brought together, it was a regional approach. Now that was changed, and provincial government asked our municipalities to get together and put together enterprise regions. And I was part of that in my regional area, and we worked very hard. We were bringing together urban municipalities, rural municipalities, other groups and organizations. And just as that was getting underway, the province made the decision not to go down that path. So now we have all the municipalities struggling to do things on their own. And we have heard over and over again when a business, an industry is looking to come in to our province, they're looking at a regional approach, whether it's on the services that are needed, the water, the sewer, the energy, the power, the housing for their employees, the services that employees need. This is no longer just one municipality. It is a combination of everyone working together. And that's, in my opinion and Suma's opinion, where we're struggling. So we are asking the provincial government to put together a regional approach to economic development. And we're there. We are there to help and to make this work. And so are our municipalities.
Would you want to see the province take a lead on that, or would you want to leave it up to the municipalities? Because this is the perfect time to ask that, right? Because we're
Yeah.
coming to a budget and they have the money and they'll say, okay, we only have a limited supply, which they do, and they don't want to run a big deficit if they do run one. But is it the province you want to take the lead, or do you want to see the municipalities who know their individual regions probably, and I'm saying this respectfully to the province, a little bit better than they do?
We're on the ground. We're there every
Yes.
day. We know what we need. And, I don't see this being a huge ask, but it is an ask because so many of these urban municipalities, it's not in their budget to have an economic development officer who that is their primary work. Right now, it's being done off the desks. It's been done by volunteers, all doing an admirable job. But we're not just competing, Chris, with our local community down the highway. We're competing globally. So we have to have the tools to go out and do that.
You talked about healthcare being a priority as well. And when I was speaking to a small town mayor just recently, actually last week for an upcoming episode of my other show, Cross Border Interviews, we talked about healthcare being a priority and how his community is facing some challenges because the ambulance takes 45 minutes to get to his community, and that is not acceptable to him. What would you like to see the province do to address the healthcare concerns in smaller urban centers, rural communities, as they would be called, or urban rural communities?
Well, this is something that, when you come to our convention in April, this is going to be a priority for many communities. Because it also works towards keeping our communities viable, keeping people in their communities. And tied in with this, Chris, is something I'm hearing from people in my community and people throughout the provinces. As people are retiring, they want to stay in their communities. They want to continue living where they have their best life. And that is important, but they need health care and they need things like home care coming into their homes. That's now tied in all of it, along with the concerns we have around the general health care, around mental health, around addictions, because that's playing a huge role in the whole healthcare and taking away the services that are needed because of those immediate needs by people that are suffering from some of the things that are happening in their life. So what I'm hearing, and the nuances are maybe a little different, whether you're in a town of bigger or whether you're in a city or whether you are in, Torquay, Saskatchewan. The needs are a little different, but they're all around the same thing. We need more healthcare professionals in Saskatchewan. So we're asking our provincial government to open up seats to healthcare professionals to be trained here. And they're more than likely to stay here then in our municipalities and move. So more seats for doctors, more seats for psychiatric nurses, and take a look at a program for psychiatric nurse practitioners. Let's start looking at some innovative ways. And, Chris, SUMA and our members, we have those innovative ideas. We have those ideas. We just need partners that are willing to work with us.
Do you feel like you have a partner in the provincial government?
Most times, yes. We feel that they are receptive, and we understand the need for money. I mean, you're looking at people in our municipalities. We cannot run deficits. We're hearing, I can't go to my local grocery store or to my grandson's hockey game without people talking with me. We're there every day. We hear this. So, my wish today is to have our provincial government sit down with our SUMA leaders. And I don't just mean with me, I mean with our board of directors, with our caucus members that we have now. And, let's join us as we do our regional meetings, hear from our members right across this province.
There's one area that I think you did not mention it, but I want to talk about it just for a brief second, if you don't mind. And that is uh, policing in
Yes.
northern Saskatchewan. I had the pleasure to sit down with one of your SUMA board members, Lyle Herman, mayor of La Loche, and he had just recently got back from Ottawa at the time of recording, and he talked about policing in his community, how his detachment is not full and there's some strains on it. Are you hoping to see some movement on policing in this budget to help municipalities like La Loche, like other northern municipalities who are seeing struggles to equip a full detachment in their area?
Thanks for that question, Chris, because community safety comes up all the time. And again, it may mean a little differently from different of our urban members. But what we are hearing consistently is the lack of coverage. No matter where you are in this province, there simply are not enough officers. What we say, there aren't enough boots on the ground. So, as you remember, a few years ago, the province of Saskatchewan went down the road of bringing the marshal system to our province. And we have been working with them and on that system about how they're going to integrate into our municipalities when needed. It's been very quiet on that front, and we've been asking for more information, and I'm sure that's going to come up at convention. And that may be one way to get more boots on the ground. And we're very willing to listen and to see how we can help. But we've heard nothing in the last 4 to 5 months. So that's a call out. I'm hoping some people from the Marshall system are going to be watching and hearing this, Chris. We need to know more because we can help. Because we're hearing things like the mayor of La Loche and what his community is experiencing. So we need to know how they're going to be doing this, and they're taking some steps, but they're slow steps and they're baby steps. And that's something that, we need to work on. And it all integrates because if you have, some of our citizens that are suffering from mental health issues or addiction issues, they're putting pressure not just on the health system, but they're putting pressure on the community safety system too, on the policing. So this is all ties together. And those conversations have to be ongoing.
We talk about the challenges that municipalities are facing, and it sounds like there are a few, but I want to just pivot back to infrastructure for a brief second, because that is the biggest expenditure for a lot of municipalities, especially a lot of smaller urban municipalities. Are you seeing or are you hearing from your municipal members that they need to delay projects because they do not have the funding in place right now? And if that is the case, what does the future look like for Saskatchewan when we see critical projects like wastewater treatment facilities, highway upgrades, changes to infrastructure underground? Are you optimistic? Are you concerned about the future if we have to start delaying projects if funding doesn't come through?
Well, there's always concerns, Chris. And the concern we had with our federal infrastructure programming is it's delaying things. Yes, we understand that we still have a program that's open, but it's fully allocated. So that has been a huge delay. So as our municipalities are trying to plan, because again, we cannot run deficits. And what we're hearing is our reserves are very, very minimal right now. There just hasn't been the opportunity to build reserves for these large projects, whether it's a water treatment plant or an RO system that has to go in or a new lagoon. It is all the same because our budgets, no matter your big, small, north, south, east, west, it's all a matter of zeros. And those zeros mean different things to different municipalities, but it's still difficult. I know in my community, we are looking at a possibility of $270 million on a waste water treatment plant. That treatment plant is not just for our residents of Yorkton. It supplies and services two of the largest canola, crush plants in the world, a oat processing plant, a flax processing plant, and all our residents and businesses in the city. But that is food, fuel, and fertilizer. So, Chris, the question I'm going to ask you, who do you think should be helping to fund something like that, an infrastructure program like that? And that question is being asked all over the province.
Okay, you've mentioned food, fuel, and fertilizer a few times, and there's two municipalities that have woken up over the last few months and are not feeling very much love from the federal government because there's two facilities in the province of Saskatchewan that is going to be closing, and that is going to hurt the sort of economic development and the economic outlook of their individual municipalities. I'm talking, of course, of Indian Head and of Kyle, Saskatchewan. The federal government announced earlier last year in their budget that they'd be closing some facilities. And in January, these two facilities were on the chopping block. And that means people are getting their walking papers or relocation papers. SUMA is these are two of your members. Have you spoken to the mayors? And when we talk about economic development, when we talk about challenges, are these mayors concerned about the future of their municipalities with two big facilities like this closing?
Well, Chris, it's very, very unfortunate that these things are on the chopping block, as you call it. Hopefully, hopefully the work that we're doing together is going to help solve some of those issues that are coming up and bring the actual facts of what those research stations do. And about a week and a half ago, there was a meeting in Indian Head that brought together the MP, the MLA, SUMA, SARM, APAS, municipal, provincial, federal leaders were there to have these discussions and to talk about how we're going to advocate together to bring the actual information to our federal partners. Because in my mind, and in many minds there, that's not known. It's so easy to sit and make cuts on a budget, on a large spreadsheets, but to understand the impact that that has to the exports that Saskatchewan produce, to the income tax that that brings into the federal government. All of those things come into play. So SUMA and APAS are working. We're working together on an advocacy strategy. We've gotten letters out together, our two organizations, so the Agricultural Producers Association of Saskatchewan, working very closely with them. I was away, could not attend that meeting, but our CEO, Jean-Marc Nadeau, was there. And that next day, I spoke with Mayor Cole in Indian Head. I had a really good conversation with him, and I am reaching out to some of the contacts that I know in the federal government, along with SUMA is doing the same thing.
Well, I appreciate your candor there. I want to just quickly turn because I'm cautious of time here, and we are coming to the budget. Let's go back to the budget where we first started, if you don't
Yeah,
mind, Randy. I know you're not going to get everything, and I think you know that as well. You hope that everything is going to happen, and Christmas morning is going to wake up, and you're going to get everything under the Christmas tree.
yes.
But the reality is, it's probably highly unlikely. Again, my words. What are the two things that you would want to ensure if the Minister of Finance was listening right now and he said, Minister, these are the two things, these are the top two priorities that you need to fix for urban municipalities to have a strong standing in 2026? What would those two things be?
Well, Chris, you know me. When I talk to Minister Ryder, I'm asking for three things. Let's not go sparse here. So, top one is going to be infrastructure. I don't think that is, there's any doubt. The second thing is mental health, healthcare, and addictions. Where we hear government, they're working on it, but it's not being done quickly enough. And the third thing is going to be definitely is around community safety and policing. We hear that constantly. And so many other things are woven in to those three top priorities. So those are my top three.
Okay, so then on the flip side of this question is what's your message to Saskatchewan residents who are listening to this, who might be watching this and saying, why is it important to have strong urban municipalities across our province when we have so many other challenges going on in the world?
What I would say to our residents, and we've been saying this through our We Are Urban campaign, Chris, is we bring the services to the people that call Saskatchewan home. We are the partners. And we talked about that. We are the partners that drive economic development. We are the partners that provide the jobs, on the streets, in the homes, in the businesses, in the industry, in the province. So please talk with your MLAs because that's the bottom line. It's not, me, Randy Golden, president of SUMA, councillor city of Yorkton. It's when our MLAs are out and about in their constituencies. Talk to them about what the priorities are because that's how we can together. And that's what SUMA brings, our voice, but it's the voices of everyone that lives in our province.
President, always a pleasure to sit down with you. Thank you so much. I look forward to our next conversation, whenever that will be. I'm assuming on budget day. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another edition of Municipal Affairs, the show where we take a closer look at the people, the policies, and the practical decisions shaping local governments across Canada. Now, each episode is designed to dig beneath the headlines and bring forward real-world conversations about the challenges and, yes, opportunities facing municipalities of all sizes. Now, if today's discussion was useful or even thought-provoking, we encourage you to subscribe to the show. leave a review, and share this episode with your colleagues, councillors, mayors, reeves, directors, or any municipal professional who cares about strong local governance. Visit crossbordernetwork.ca to learn how you can join us on a future episode and contribute to the national conversation on local governance. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and thanks again for tuning in for another episode of Municipal Affairs.